Greetings, mind crafters, and welcome to another glorious day here in northern Vermont to listen to a Minecraft podcast. Maybe we're calling this a video cast now. Not really sure. And then again, who really cares? We're all together talking about good stuff. My name is Kimberly Quinn, and there he is, Giovanni, and we are here today to have another discussion. And really what I want to talk to you about today is summer. It's officially summer, and obviously you'll watch this at all different times. We're not really supposed to say that because, like, you'll get these at night. You might look at this in the fall, and all the content's all this. It's all the same. It's all good, right? But I really kind of want to. That's kind of like the point today, though, because it's Memorial Day weekend, and summer is a great time to reevaluate things, and not that it isn't a good time. 365 plus leap year. Of course it is. It just seems, especially up here, when it's dark and cold at 3:30 in the afternoon, and when you wake up. So basically, up here in the northern Vermont in the winter, which I love winter. I'm a huge fan because I'm a skier, right? I just love the whole thing. It's skiing. It's the pristine, the snow. It's all of it. I just absolutely love it. And the starry nights, It's just so good. However, it's not the easiest time, I think, to start something over or to reevaluate. It's a little tougher, to get going versus the summer. And so Memorial Day weekend is traditionally the kickoff of summer, right? Where now it's okay to wear white, and that's the weirdest rule ever. Like, the fashion police are going to come throw you in the pokey because you wore white 2 days before Memorial Day. I don't think so. It's kind of a weird rule. I think you can wear white whenever you want to wear white. Who cares? Okay, where was I going with that? Okay, so summer, instead of like in the winter when we feel like, we get up and go to work and it's dark, we get home, it's dark, we start to feel like bats. Bats, they know I don't like them. That's why they circle me when I'm walking around here at night, which is not that often. Okay, and so now we have the long days, the longer days. We've got, it's just you don't even need a happy lamp anymore because it's sunny, even in northern Vermont, which I believe Burlington, I think, is second to Seattle for cloudiness. In the summer, second or third, I'm pretty sure. We get so much. Look at the bluebird behind me. It's crazy. This is a great time to really ask yourself a few questions, right? Again, any time of year good, but it's just easier, I think, now. Are you happy? Really ask yourself that. If you have the privilege of going into a woodsy spot, even if it's Central Park, that's just what I use because that's my area that I was originally from, down there. Any major city has a park. Or if you can just get out for a walk. But the whole thing is to turn that phone off. I know it sounds ironic. Yeah, on your phone. Well, yeah, because I'm making a podcast and it's different. But the rest of the time, I actually have a rule for myself. I have 15 minutes per day social media. And you might think, how are you doing that? Well, I upload these podcasts. I say happy birthday to a couple people and I'm off. I get off of there. I have a rule. But anyway, back to this. Are you happy? Are you really happy? And be honest with yourself. If not, why not? That's very important to know because, as far as anybody can tell, life is not a dress rehearsal. This is the big game. This is all about our life minutes, our valuable, precious life minutes. There is nothing more valuable than our life minutes, obviously. And as we, become more seasoned, let's say, old is not as nice of a word, and at a fabulous 58, I can tell you that, there are fewer in front of me than behind me, obviously. And I was always a huge fan of valuing life minutes. Very nice, G. It's interesting, a little sidetrack. He's a golden retriever, right? But he's not totally aware of his genetics because he's oblivious to the ducks that fly around, which is very sweet. And he's not a fan of the deep. He prefers the shallow. Not a big swimmer, which is funny. He just goes in the shallow to get himself, cooler. Okay, so are you happy? If not, why not? Really dig deeply into that because this is huge. We are meant to feel good, and obviously, in a deeper level, we're put on this earth to learn how to love ourselves and everybody else better. I think we all know that. That is the whole point. Which is why adversity and why we grow and grow and grow and da-da-da-da-da. We are also meant to enjoy this ride. Even with the curveballs and the stuff that happens, we are meant to, for the most part, most of the time, to feel good. So gravitate towards what makes you feel good. If you're not happy, why not? What are you not doing or doing or not doing that has you not feeling happy? Now, obviously, it's not like, no, I'm not, yes, I am. You can have no, I'm not, yes, I am. But there's the whole middle. You can be happy, but not as happy as you'd like to be. So just ask that question. It's super important. It's more important than anything else you're doing today, actually. And then elevate it up a notch and ask yourself, am I fulfilled? Which is way different. Am I fulfilled? Am I on fire most days? Well, because obviously nobody's 100% happy, 100% fulfilled. Most of the time, the high majority of the time, which means most of the day for most days, am I fulfilled? Do I feel like I'm in alignment? Do I feel like I'm doing what I was put on this earth to do? Does my life have meaning? Does it have purpose? Am I living it? Am I living the life? And again, it doesn't mean that bad stuff happens. Of course it does. We're talking about most of the time, and you know by how you feel, because you just feel in alignment. You feel like you have the world by the ass. Again, doesn't mean there aren't issues that come up with your job, career, calling, or whatever. Of course they do on occasion. But mostly though, when you're in alignment, you take all that stuff with stride because it still feels right. Like, okay, I got this little speed bump, but I feel like I'm on track. It's very, very, very important to ask yourself that. And then, really evaluate what you're doing with your life minutes. Am I am I living deliberately? That's the question. There it is. Came straight out of the woods. Am I living deliberately? Because we all walk around making decisions all day long, right? We just do. And with either they can be active decisions where we're like, okay, this person really isn't working out for me as a friend. Maybe they're not, they're not an evil demon, but it's just not a good fit. So why am I spending valuable life minutes, meeting this person for whatever, lunch and going out and part of whatever? I just can slowly, gently, with kindness slide out of that. We can make passive decisions, be like, because it just feels like too much to have to make changes like that. Sometimes we make a passive decision because we're still deciding. So we don't say anything, continue to blow a perfectly good bluebird of a Sunday like this, and then get resentful because this was not a way we wanted to choose our life minutes. Instead of hanging out on the back deck with a good book and a lemonade on a day like this, which is good day for anything, except maybe skiing, right? But that's different. On the back deck, or like we're having our daughter and her partner, the chef, Nate the Great, over later. And that's a great use of our life minutes. But to just passively or passively offer to do something you really don't want to do. Somebody asks you to go, volunteer. Volunteering is good. I'm a big fan of volunteering, right? I'm a big fan. If it's a day like this, and usually you do lots of good stuff for people, and you just plain don't want to because you work hard, and this is like an ideal banner, stellar day, to not passively, get wrapped up in the guilt and the landing pad like we talked about in another video. Land in that guilt place because that's what you're conditioned to do. And then you've caved into it, and then you're resentful later. Like, where'd that day go? Valuable life minutes you're not getting back. Okay? So these are super important things to ask yourself. Am I happy? Am I fulfilled? And how am I spending my life minutes? And then really take a look at that, because how we spend our life minutes each and every day turns, then day, and then there's another day, and then it's a week, and then it's a month, and then it's a year, and that's your life. So it's really, really super important to ask yourself, those three things. And the third one of those, the life minute question, is really asking yourself, okay, am I happy? Am I fulfilled? Am I living deliberately? Am I living by my own, am I chasing down my own wishes? Am I actively engaged in my life most of the time? There is no bigger thief of life minutes than autopilot. It doesn't mean that those of us who are really on the mindfulness track and all that don't occasionally slide out into autopilot, and you just got to reel yourself back in. It's kind of like, for me, it's kind of like a 2-year-old. If I'm hungry, angry, sick, or tired, I won't be at my best. And you just accept that that's part of life. You're going to have moments like that, right? The important thing is to recognize it and reel yourself back in, because you want to have as little autopilot in your life as is humanly possible. It just steals life minutes, because only what we are actively engaged in, what we are attenuating to, which is a super sexy word for paying attention, is the only thing that makes it to long-term memory. Right, Giovanni? Yes. So basically, when you're zoned out on autopilot, those life minutes are going down the rabbit hole, never to return again. You're not going to have much, if any, of a memory of any of it. So basically, it's just like throwing them away. It's like, thank you for this big gift. Who cares? And throwing them away. Imagine? Cannot imagine. So those are the 3 things to ask yourself and evaluate. I'm going to throw in a little chaser too. I didn't even plan this. Actually, I didn't plan any of it, to be truthful. Is when you ask yourself those 3 things, ask yourself that the twofold biggie question: how much of my day am I fully present? What percentage? Is it 75% higher? Is it between 50 and 75%? Is it between 25 and 50%? Or are you hardly present at all? Ask yourself that, because that's also the percentage that is the same thing as how active in my life am I? How present in my life am I? It's really the same. It's like a synonym, okay? How much are you available for yourself, enjoying your life minutes? It's a little different than the last one, how you're spending them, but then ask yourself, how present are you, okay? And then the gratitude thing. How much time do I spend each day being grateful? Because gratitude is the master key to happiness. So do the percentage thing again. 25, between 25 and 50, 50 and 75. I am running with it that I'm spending more than 75% of my day being grateful. Saying it, feeling it, just maybe in here. Writing a gratitude journal, whatever. And then ask yourself those things as well, because there's nothing more important, right, than our life minutes. And so summer, again, is just an easier time to do all this stuff. You can do it any time of year, and it's always good. But, I mean, think of it. As we said, the days are longer. The veggies are all in season. There's lots of fun stuff going on. You don't have to shovel if you live in a place where there's a lot of beautiful snow. It's just easier. So now's a good time to get this momentum started with learning to live deliberately. Okay, this is Giovanni and myself signing off from Northern Vermont. Have a mindful day.